Looks like it could be a good one.
She's a beauty, isn't
Where'd you
she?
come from?
I just popped in.
You look familiar.
I guess I have one of those faces that are just so
So-
familiar.
There are no problems with it?
There's no problems with it. I've never had an issue with it at
Would you
all.
take 17?
I'll give it to you for 2,700.
Well, you look like a man of integrity.
Deal. Cash. Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Simple Sober Life. I am Joshua, and I help others make simple changes to create a life of awesome. Welcome, my friends, and thank you so much for joining me here today. Real quick, if you're new or you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure to do so by clicking on that little button down in the corner. Hit that bell when you subscribe so you get notified each time I create a video. And make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. There is so much cool information, and we're really building a community over there to help each of us build a life of awesome in sobriety. Well, my friends, I think C.S. Lewis said it best when he said, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one else is watching. You know, last Sunday, I had the pleasure of going to church with my family, and Brian was actually giving the sermon. The pastor was out of town visiting his family for Father's Day, and so Brian kind of took over and did the sermon, and he always does such a fantastic job. I love watching him preach. You can just really tell the passion in his soul that comes forth whenever he is giving the good word. But his message was about, you know, growing up to teaching our children to grow up being good people, good-hearted people. And one of the points that he mentioned was showing integrity. And he delivered that line by C.S. Lewis, and it kind of piqued my interest. I'm like, am I a man of integrity? I like to think I am. You know, I generally try to do the right thing. You know, I try to be honest. I try to help others and things like that. Now, that is a far cry from a little over a year ago when I was at the very bottom of my drinking. When I was drinking, I didn't give a shit about anyone. And I didn't give a crap about myself either. And I would lie and cheat and steal just so I could get, you know, what my body and my soul and my heart and my mind were craving, which was the alcohol. But fast forward a year later, and I think I'm making positive steps towards, you know, being a man of integrity. And I started wondering, I'm like, well, what does integrity even really mean? I mean, what does that mean? How would one become a person of integrity? And so, of course, I went to the Googlers and I just typed in living with integrity, and I wanted to see what came up. And a bunch of different articles, of course, popped up, a lot of them from Psychology Today and Psych Today and, you know, mental health blogs and things like that. And they came around with a couple of different points about what it means to have integrity and how to actually achieve living a more, I don't know what the word would be, not integral, living a better life of integrity. And so I just wanted to go over some of those points with you. You know, maybe you could see where you stand and see where you might have some work to do, but hopefully we are all working towards living a life of integrity. And one of the things that they pointed out of what it means to live with integrity is living within your core values. You know, we're all brought up with a different set of values. I was taught to work hard and be honest and, you know, do the right thing. And, you know, I look around the world today and it is clear that people were brought up with varying core values. And it's a shame. And I understand that, you know, maybe your values don't exactly line up with mine, but from the different things that I'm seeing today, it doesn't look like integrity is having a very strong hold on some people. But hopefully that means that there is progress yet to be made, and that progress will continue to be made. One thing that I've already mentioned was someone who values honesty is someone who is able to live with integrity. And like I mentioned, during my drinking time, I would do anything to say little lies, sneak around just so I could get, my hands on my fix. And today I am hopefully not like that as much. I might tell a little white lie here or there to save my own ass, or to make me look better, or something like that. And that's all things that I should probably work on. But I think as of right now, I'm doing better than I have before. Another reflection of someone who is living with integrity is someone who always puts their best foot forward. Someone who goes in and, does the best that they can. This, I believe, I do on a daily basis. I constantly strive to put my best foot forward, to put in the hardest work that I am able to do at that time. Now, some days may differ depending on my emotional status or, how I'm feeling about that day. Some days I just don't want to be there. But even through that, I still get the job done, and I try to do it with a smile on my face. I learned this from my dad. He had great work ethic, and towards the end, he was working for a company that did not value him whatsoever, and I think that they were doing everything in their power to get him to leave, and yet he continued to get up at 4 a.m. every single day, grab his lunch, and go out the door, because he had a job to do, and he was going to do it despite what others said or did to him to make him feel disrespected at work. Another quality that represents someone who is living with integrity is a passion for compassion. So are you a person who actually has empathy for someone? Are you someone whose heart kind of goes out to someone who is suffering? Do you do something to actually try and help them? This is a very good quality of someone who is living with integrity. And this is something that I need to be better at. Sometimes it's really hard for me to empathize with people, especially if I haven't gone through a similar situation, or I have a different point of view. With everything that's going on right now with the COVID-19 and the racial tensions and things like that, sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the severity of what is happening. And so it's sometimes hard for me to empathize. I'm trying to get better at that, and I think that is a step in the right direction, but sometimes I fall short. And I don't have the compassion that I should for some people. And, I guess that's part of what makes me human, and part of the path that I'm walking, just trying to get better every single day. And the last quality that I found of someone living with integrity is they stand up for they stand up for justice. So they'll stand up against an injustice. And I fell short on that this week. And I've been kind of playing this scenario over and over in my head. So at work, we have, several bosses, but the big boss has been around quite a bit lately, and he has a tendency to kind of hop from station to station and, you know, kind of make people feel tense. And he's quick to point out mistakes, and he's quick to point out faults in people. And he came over on our side, and the younger guys were talking. Now, they were talking about business. A pallet of plates needed to get moved over to the other side, and they were going over, you know, what needed to happen in order for that to work out. And he came over and he started kind of chastising my assistant. I say my assistant, he's not really my assistant, he's an equal, but he's younger than I am, he's in his early 20s. And he started chastising him for talking. You know, don't you have anything better to do than stand around? Well, this younger guy that I work with has been doing a fantastic job all week. He has been putting forth a lot of effort to, you know, get things done, while I focus my attentions on training the new guy and, you know, setting things up so that things can work a little more smoothly. And he chastised him for, you know, that one moment that he saw him speaking with, you know, a coworker. And I didn't say anything. And I still feel, and this happened several days ago, and I still feel like I should have. As the leader of that group on the side, and as the elder, I should have, you know, stepped up and at least taken the boss aside and said, hey, you know, my coworker has been doing, you know, a great job this week. Everything that is over on the machine over there, all the lifts that are completed, is because of him. And that's something that I should have done had I been living with integrity. And I played it over and over in my head, and I failed to do that. I failed to stand up for that injustice. And so that's something else I need to work on. And that came, you know, from fear and, you know, a lack of integrity, you know, for lack of other terms. But living with integrity isn't always easy. You know, someone who has a lot of integrity is often made fun of, you know, because they generally have to go against the grain. They generally have to go against popular belief. And, you know, they could be chastised, they could be made fun of. But it is hard work, and it's a continual process that we all need to strive for. I believe that if we all at least took a couple of little steps every single day to live more of a life of integrity, then we would all be, we would have a more harmonious existence. I believe that full-heartedly. And, you know, we wouldn't have, you know, a lot of the animosity and the tensions that are arising and boiling over right now. So now that we know the qualities of, you know, what makes a person of integrity, how do we get there? How can we make those strides to live a better life of integrity? Well, find out what your core values are. You know, go back to your childhood and think about the people of influence, the positive people of influence, and look at the way that they lived their life and what traits were passed on to you, and really embrace those. Really embrace those characteristics that make you a good person of integrity, and start building upon those. You know, if you're a hard worker, you know, continue to show up punctually, continue to put your best foot forward, continue to always strive to be better, and you know, share that leadership quality that is within you. Be honest and don't try to screw people over. I'm sure you've, you know, going through life, you've come into contact with people who just have a negative vibe. and you just have a sneaky suspicion about them, and they're always trying to get one over on someone. They're always trying to get the upper hand by putting someone else down. They're dishonest. You know, that car that I have over there, I bought that from someone who was not, who did not have integrity. And one of the things that I have found to get your way is to question someone else's integrity. You know, I have he's not my boss, but he's a manager there. He came over one day and he started rummaging through plates, and he was tossing them all over the floor. And, you know, he couldn't find what he was looking for. So he just kind of started stepping away. And I was standing right there when he did that. And, you know, one of the things that I do is try to keep things organized so that we can find things easier. And he just started walking away. And I just went, And he slowed and he kind of turned to me, and we get along fine. You know, we joke back and forth or whatever. And, you know, in a sarcastic manner, I just kind of looked down at the plates, and then I kind of looked at him, and I looked at the plates, and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Nothing. I just thought you had more integrity than that." But he was caught off guard. He wasn't exactly sure how to respond. And so he looked down at the plates, kind of realized what he had done, and then came over and started picking them back up. So, you know, people really value their integrity. And I know I've kind of gone off track here from how to become more a person of better integrity, but that was a quick sidebar that can help you out in life. If someone is not being integrity, or if someone is not living in integrity, call them out on it. They may not even realize it, but then, you know, you can usually sway them into doing what you'd like. But another step that we can take in being a person of integrity is taking responsibility for our actions. And this is something that I have always tried to do. I know when I am wrong, I will generally try and admit it and step forward and, you know, admit my fault in whatever the situation might be. I have found that helps out quite a bit, you know, when it comes to punishments and, you know, other things like that. So actually taking responsibility for our actions. Another way to live. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? I'm shooting a video. What are you doing? What are you doing out here in your socks? You want to say hi? Come here. Say hi. You gonna say hi? Right here. Hi. You gonna go inside? Oh, that's all right. Anyway, my friends, helping others is a fantastic way to live with more integrity. You know, I've never been a big volunteer person. There have been a couple of organizations that I've donated my time to, and you know, I found some good value in that. But it wasn't until I was actually punished into doing community service for some of the things that I have done that I've really found value in helping others. Now, you know, I'll help people if they need it, and I don't really think too much of it, but when I was actually pushed into it and saw the work that I was doing, you know, one of the community service activities that I participated in was a food pantry. And, you know, it really made me realize that I had not been living in integrity because, you know, I'm vain, I'm narcissistic, I'm egotistical. And, there are a lot of people out there who are way less fortunate than I am. And when I was actually able to see that, it kind of put a crack in my better than thou art foundation. And it made me want to help others more. And so, I strive to help others whenever I possibly can. And that's a great way to build up integrity. Another thing that helps out, I believe, build up integrity is giving people the benefit of the doubt. Now, don't become a doormat. You can't give people chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. And I have definitely realized that aspect of things on both sides of the coin. But the new guy that we have, I've been training him, and I've become really impatient with him. And, at first, instead of giving him the benefit of the doubt, I would make wisecracks and sarcastic remarks regarding his work ethic. And when mine was questioned, I took a hard stance against that, yet I was doing it to someone else. He is a drug addict, and he is currently in rehabilitation. He's been out of prison now for about 6 months, and I immediately cast that shadow of doubt on him. Well, these past couple of days, I have been trying to consciously take a different approach. I've been using positive reinforcement and trying to get him into a routine of actually, doing the job that he needs to do. And I've noticed over the past couple of days that, he's slowly started stepping up. And so in changing that perspective about him and in giving him the benefit of the doubt, I have found that I feel better about myself. I feel like I'm living with more integrity, and I'm getting a slightly improved work ethic from him. And so giving the people the benefit of the doubt can definitely help you as well as the person that, you're working with. Another thing this is a big one. This is a huge one. Another thing that can help you live with more integrity is do what you say you're going to do. We all know people that make promises and then they don't keep them. How frustrating is that? I know, it's mind-blowing. I just want to choke someone. Now, I understand if there are extenuating circumstances, if it happens so seldomly that, you have no reason to do it. But those people who do it over and over and over again, oh yeah, I'll meet you up for dinner at 7 o'clock at da-da-da-da, and then you're sitting there at 7:15 waiting. Or, they say they'll help you in some situation and they just don't show up. Doing what you say you're going to do creates such a flavor of integrity. I don't believe there is anything that tops that, in my opinion. For someone to say that they're going to do something and then actually follow through, that is a person of integrity. And so if you're one of those people who, kind of is aloof and just kind of floats on by and says, oh, I'll do this, this, and this, your words actually mean something to people. And so if you're not following through with it, then that gives you a bad reputation and it just makes people think less of you. So if you follow through with what you say you're going to do, you will be at the top of the integrity list. This next one I have a problem with. Being humble. This might be one of my character flaws. Because when I do something right, I want to shout it from the rooftops. I worked on my book today. I got in some yoga. I'm shooting a video. I'm taking care of my dog. I'm doing all this stuff. Me, 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 me. Let's practice a little bit of humility, all right? All right, back it off, Chief. So, being humble, just taking a step back and just kind of ingesting some humility can help you live a better life of integrity. And last but not least, this should be a no-brainer, but just being kind and respectful to other people is a masterful way to live with more integrity. My friends, I hope you got value out of this. I know this was a bit of a longer video, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a big old thumbs up. Feel free to share it. Share it all over the world if you want. I would love that, and so would our community. Let me hear those comments down below. What other qualities of integrity do you feel are necessary? My friends, make sure again to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Check out the website. I'll link everything down below so you don't have to do any work. And until next time, my friends, cheers.